All right, there are very few TV shows that stay on the air over 20 years, but the TV show we're going to talk about now was on for 35 years.
I know, the Wallace and Ladmo Show made its debut on April 1st, 1954, and we have a special guest here, Pat McMahon, to talk about the show's 70th anniversary.
Why
Pat,
is it that when I came in, I felt so much younger than you were just discussing a career?
Well, we were just saying in the opening that how is it possible that it's the 70th anniversary because you're only 35?
Well, you know, I've managed to tell that story successfully for a number of years. The 70th anniversary and the Rotary Club of Scottsdale did the Prada del Sol, the 70th anniversary of the Prada del Sol parade, and they had a Wallace and Ladmo float.
Wow.
And I got to be on that, and it never ends, and thank God, it's just marvelous.
And Pat, the thing that's so crazy is that I wasn't here, of course, when the show was going on. Lexi's not here, but any place we go, and I say that I work with Pac-Man, the first thing they go, I need a wallet, I need a bag,
A
Ladmo
Ladmo
bag.
But how is that you still touch people's lives to this day with that show?
Well, one of the wonderful things is that the show is still on Sundays, and it has been on Channel 7 for the last couple of years in reruns. And every show, we give away a Ladmo bag. The Twinkies are still the same as 35 years ago.
The same Twinkies?
The same Twinkies that they bought in 1954, yep.
No, the Ladmo bag, though, became an extraordinary prize present gift dream. And it's a Bash's grocery bag with Hostess cupcakes and animal crackers and that kind of thing, and a picture of us. But it was Ladmo's name was on the outside. And Ladmo, he was just the most lovable doofus in the world, and Wallace was as close to a genius as I've ever worked with the possible exception of Brad. See,
well, clearly this show has touched so many lives. It is an icon here in the Valley. And you guys had guest stars to top the list. I mean, tell me, who were some of your favorite guest stars?
Well, almost unlikely people like Don Rickles appearing on a kid's show and having a great time. He drove up in a limousine. The driver got out, opened his door, and we were standing in costume waiting. And he took one look at us, those guys, and then got right back in the limousine again.
Stop it.
But he did come back. No, Jack Benny. Muhammad Ali we couldn't get rid of.
Wow.
Really?
Muhammad Ali came down the first time, did an appearance, had a great time with Wallace, and then when he moved out here, he would occasionally just show up in the audience. Here's a bunch of Cub Scouts and some brownies. Oh, and Muhammad Ali.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
oh
no,
my
and
goodness.
great sports. Willie Mays and Rocky Marciano. I'm just thinking of the super sports stars of the world, motion picture actors. Here's one that never appeared on the show, but went to Sedona to visit his family. Orson Welles happened to be tuning in, as he did regularly, I understood, and then called me and said, I want you in a movie.
Wow. That's
No.
awesome.
I mean, as long as we're dropping names.
I mean, yes, well, that was what we wanted to hear. We wanted to hear these names, and this has been such an incredible show that has touched so many lives. Can you give us one of your all-time favorite memories from doing the show?
I might not have been able to come up with one that fast because I was on the show for
so
30
many.
years and I was the new guy. But I just happened to see a quick piece of material that I hadn't seen for years and years and years of a moment that Gerald, who was just a rotten, untrustworthy, terrible, braggadocio guy that you couldn't trust at all, and he didn't like anybody. And then I just saw a moment in which he was stopped cold because Wallace brought a little girl on to sit next to Gerald, and Gerald was just mortified that he had to sit next to a public school brat. And Gerald, Wallace said, Gerald, this young lady said that she'd like to come down because she has something for you. I said, what in the world could she have that I don't have? I live on the top of the mountain. And nothing that she has would I be interested in. And she said, "This is what I have for you, Gerald." And she reached over and kissed Gerald on the cheek. Well, nobody kissed Gerald. You know? It was that kind of a thing. I was stopped cold, and I had to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That
What a
is
beautiful
great.
memory.
It is.
Oh.
70 years of the Wallace and Ladmo Show, and we're still airing it over on 7.5
Yes.
that you can check out. And I want to throw a shout out to Michael Gallagher, because Michael's the one who really, really got behind bringing this back on the air, because it was his childhood dream to be on the show and be a part of it. Now he is. So Michael Gallagher, who's one of our great guys.
And he's the historian who remembers everything.
Yeah.
He really
And,
is.
Oh, and by the way, excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. I never got one myself.
Stick around. We got more of the Arizona Daily Mix coming up after this.